Hey now, and how are you doing? Want to welcome you to the next episode of Peace, Love, and Bring a Bat. Today we're bringing on Dan MacQueen, and I can't wait to hear it. He has such an interesting story about having brain hemorrhaging and all the things that he then had to learn about himself afterwards. And we're going to hear a little bit about his philosophy of why me to try me. And let's go start it out. How are you doing today, Dan?
I'm very well, thank you. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Life's good. So let the audience, if you could just let the audience know a little bit about yourself, and then we'll start getting into the heavy stuff.
Yeah, sure. My name's Dan MacQueen. I'm a keynote speaker based in Vancouver, Canada. Speak on change management, resilience, and motivation. Um, Big swimmer, love my coffees, enjoy the sunshine. That's me in a nutshell.
Okay, yeah. So, well, one of the things I definitely want to talk about is, you were leading a healthy lifestyle, and then the floor dropped out, and you had to make some adjustments. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I moved to Europe after a bit of a quarter life crisis. At 25, kind of broke with my girlfriend, bought a motorcycle, started, causing all havoc in the bar scene. Decided I'm going to do a master's in Europe. So I moved to Sweden for a year. Studied a master's in sustainability, leadership for sustainability. Did that for a year and then decided I've got a European passport, so let's continue living in Europe for a little longer. Moved to London, got a job in tech, company called Hootsuite. Worked post sale, so after the clients bought the product, I would help onboard them and train them and implement the platform. And it was a fun job. We had a keg at the office. The Friday nights were always fun. Late nights, night bus home at 3 a.m. And living a pretty fast and loose lifestyle, playing some sports, five-a-side footy, like soccer, and then ball hockey in London. Then I started having these headaches. And they got worse after a few weeks. Painkillers like candy for them. My head was pounding. Headaches got so bad. I was on the tube one day. Tubes had a zigzag around London, lumbering towards Nine Hill Gate tube station on the District line. And this is a slow roll at the best of times. Headaches were so bad, my vision turned starry and I saw spots. So it started to fade to black. It was a race to who could arrive at the station first, me or the blindness. Arrived at Nine Hill Gate tube station, stepped on the platform, mind the gap, and the lights went out. The station's swirling around me. I can smell it, I can hear it, but I can't see a thing. So I want to ask you, what would you think? What would you feel? What would you do?
Yeah, that's scary. Even if it's a station that you're familiar with, being disoriented, not being able to see, how do you move forward? You knew you were getting off the tube, off the train, but everything else is what do you do? I know I would probably freak out at the beginning until I can readjust myself.
Yeah, that's a good response. I'll tell you what I did. I froze like a statue and I thought, and I thought, and I thought, how am I going to think my way out of this pickle, right?
Mm.
Nothing brilliant came to me. After the longest 3 minutes of my life, my vision comes back. And I carry on my day. But the next day, I go storming back into A&E. A&E is like accident emergency in the UK, like ER in Canada, United States. I told them what's going on with me. I was blind on a tube station in London. This is not normal. What's happening? They ran some more tests, and again, they thought it was vertigo. They sent me home. On
Mm.
the way out, they told me I could always get my eyes checked by an optometrist. It's rather out of thought, but I'm not a doctor. I'm not planning to play one now, so sure, why not? Next day, I just came back with a vengeance, and I found myself in Mr. Patel's chair, an optometrist, at Specsavers. He was midway through a routine exam when he stops the exam, excuses himself from the room, and comes back a few minutes later with a sealed envelope he hands to me. He told me to go directly to Moorfields Hospital, which I did. Well, David and listeners, tell a lie. I stopped at home first to grab a Jack Reacher book by Lee Child, a phone charger, and a bite to eat. Then I arrived at Moorfields Hospital, handed him the envelope. They ran the same test there again, then escalated it to Charing Cross Hospital. We're getting somewhere thinking this is positive. No, it turns out, David, I had a dangerous balloon pressure in my brain caused by a non-cancerous cyst in my pineal gland.
Mm.
This prevented the fluid from my brain to drain as it normally would, causing the pressure to mount up, causing the vision issues. Now, it turns out I required emergency brain surgery tomorrow. Now it turns out the world's about to change altogether. So after a frantic back and forth with folks in Canada, the last text message my mom received reads, "I'll see you soon, Mom. Think I'll have a new haircut next time I see you. Love, Dan." It's me obviously trying to mask my fear and not trying to go out like a little punk, but a little bit of charm, bit of a cheek. Mom's in the air flying to London on June 21st, 2014. I'm on the operating table. Something goes wrong. I have a massive bleed in the brain, a brain hemorrhage. And the cyst burst when they operated.
Whew.
So mom lands and finds him in critical condition. I was in a coma for 4 weeks, but was in unconscious for much of this. When all was said and done, I learned how to walk, talk, and smile again.
Wow, that's incredible. Well, I obviously you can at least speak again. So how did you get that back? So you were how did your mom find out originally? Uh, because you were, really almost probably six time zones away, half the world away. If you're from Vancouver and you're in London, you had all
Yeah.
6,000 miles easy.
Yeah, so she was in the air when I had the operation and it went sideways, right? So I called my dad to tell him, hey, like, just so you know, Dan's in a coma right now. So my dad had to call my mom when she landed and let her know, like, hey, just so you know what you're walking into like a shitstorm. Dan's in a coma right now. He's clinging to life. You may not make this, but here's the address to the hospital. And yeah, it was pretty 0 to 60 off the hop, right? It was no time to muck around here. This is game time.
Yeah, I mean the whole thing turned around within 24 hours, right? The doctor was like, "You're having a surgery tomorrow." You know, whatever you had to adjust and do and try to make it through for your mom, you know, can't imagine what you were going through.
Well, I was kind of oblivious. I mean, I knew this was going to be a big surgery, right? I messaged my manager and said, I don't think I'll be in Monday, kind of jokingly. Little did I know this would be like a massive like year off of work. But I was trying to keep it light because what can you do at this stage, right? Like this is gonna happen no matter what, so let's just see what happens. And unfortunately for me, it went totally sideways on the operating table, and I was put in a medically induced coma, which I didn't want to wake up from. And woke up being told this is what happened to you. I'm like, this isn't my life, man. I was healthy, active yesterday, of course, 4 weeks ago and a day yesterday. But this isn't my life, man. I was healthy yesterday. And like, you're telling me all this has happened? Like, I don't know about this. And then sure enough, I had lost about 50 pounds. My one leg was atrophied in the ankle. I couldn't walk. I was in a wheelchair at the stage. Tubes and hoses, monitor various things. And like, I was in dire straits, man, off the hop. It was a pretty stark reality check on me about what life's going to be like going forwards.
Sure. Wow. And how did recovery? So, I guess the first thing is recovery is just, hey, I'm breathing, and what does that next stage look like?
Trying to piece together what happened to me and like coming to grips with that incident was very humbling. You're in the hospital in the daytime, right? In the ICU. There's doctors, there's nurses, there's family members kind of there booing you on and supporting you and like you're doing so well, then you're doing awesome. And the nighttime, they all go home when the night shift comes on board, right? And all the patients in the ICU are wailing and crying because their lives have just been railroaded by, no, God knows what happens to you, right? Like everyone's life has just gone off the deep end. I couldn't sleep for the first few nights because it was so haunting, the cries and the moans of the patients in there. And that was kind of the first big hurdle to clear was like, how can I deal with nighttime, right? So eventually I got some head noise canceling headphones to get some sleep. And I realized that it's not what happens to you, but how you respond to the matter. So I realized I'm not dead yet. The brain injury came pretty close to killing me, but it didn't take me. And so now it's what I thought about it more than what it was. Because the road to recovery is going to be long and hard, but I'm still alive. I still get a chance to make this right. So I got to work, in the wheelchair. It took 45 minutes the first time. Then the next week I did 40, then 35, then 30. Small, meaningful changes. Aim small, miss small, only 5-minute window, and then ratchet up to that new baseline.
Yeah.
That's how you accomplish big goals. But this was a dogfight out of the gate, man, and it was very trying. In fact, the nurse got me talking again. My parents built this dossier on me in the coma, who Dan is, to get the nurses and doctors to hopefully treat me better or care that Dan's a person. He's not like a patient on the slab here. He's a real person with lives and dreams and goals and whatnot. So Dan's a sportsman. He's a master's graduate, world traveler. Here's his girlfriend Demi. And she read the file and she goes, "Oh, I'll get Dan talking again." Took me down the park. Some kids playing footy, soccer across the park. She goes, "Dan, those kids across the park, they don't think you're good enough to talk, Dan. They don't think you're good enough to talk." And she backed away. And I yelled across the park, "Many profanities. I'll spare your team today. But I found out what motivates me, proving you wrong. I can't do this. Jog on. Watch this, brother." Like that's a very dark place to have motivation come from, but man, it burns hot and it works. It works so well, right? And that was an unlock for me to realize that motivates me. Like, yeah, I don't think I can do this. Like, yeah, prove you wrong. Like that's a huge motivating influence for me now.
Sure.
Proving you wrong.
Sure. I guess it's really weird to think about it, but how a brain hemorrhage helps you to refocus some things.
Yeah, well, you kind of realize what's important in life, right? Like before this, what was important to me was like bars, girls, work, travel. Like it's just like not. I mean, it was important to me at the time, but it was just like just like transactional fact that you think is important. But really, what's important is like the people around yourself with your friends and family and loved ones and like the impact you make in the world. And it kind of gets you to refocus on what's important. When you can't walk, right? Walking's everything. When I
Sure.
can't talk, talking's everything. The sick man wants one thing, the healthy man wants a thousand things, right? Like when you lose that ability to do something, you kind of realize, no, 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 that's the thing I want. That's the thing that I need. That's the thing I need to chase and prioritize that around that. So like the brain hemorrhage actually really allowed me to refocus my life and refocus what impact I want to make in this world and how I want to show for myself and others.
So what out of the initial stuff that, walking and all that stuff, what were you able to regain doing?
Yeah, so I was able to get back to walking about 5 months after the initial brain hemorrhage. I had to wear a splint on my left leg to gently tease the leg muscle back into shape. It's like a cast you wear to gently push it back into shape. They put a Botox injection in the back of my leg, the size of a sword. It was excruciatingly painful. And the first night I wore the splint through the night, no issue, no stress. This will be easy. I thought this will be easy. Hinting it's not going to be easy, right, David?
Yeah.
Second night
Right.
after 20 minutes was painful. After 30 minutes was dreadful. After 40 minutes was unbearable. I buzzed the nurse. Take the splint off my leg because they handle the pain. But tomorrow I told them, tomorrow I'm a walker, I can handle the pain, so we're gonna do it for an hour. Big talk, right? Third night, the wrap of the leg, tie it off with the ankle. Give me the clicker, the nurse call button. Go patrol the Wilson ward. Now the Wilson ward was an L shape, so short on this side, long on this side. Short on this side, long on this side. Leave me in that hospital room that smells like only a hospital room can smell. Sanitized, sterilized, it's clean. But you're when most of atrocities have happened under the guise of lemony zestness. After 10 minutes, legs painful. After 20 minutes, legs dreadful. After 30 minutes, legs unbearable. I start passing the clicker back and forth, trying to distract myself from the pain. As the pain ratchets up, my throats get more enthusiastic. Till eventually, inevitably, I drop the clicker, and it lands on
Mm.
the hard linoleum floor 3.5 feet down the ground. Sugar, I say. No, David, I did not
Or
say
so,
sugar.
yep, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that, right? I look over the edge of the bed. There's the clicker there lying on the floor looking back at me. If I can somehow get to that clicker, I can stop this pain, I can end this monstrosity. Only problem was, fall from that height might break my arm. In fact, I figured about a 50-50 chance you'd break my arm. Coin flip, not the best odds. I changed tack. I'm trying to untie the spin, but it's out of the ankle, not at the hip. I can't reach that far down. I'm not that flexible. Help. Help. I'm yelling at the top of my lungs. The word of Wilson was an L shape, right? Short on this side, long on this side. Short on this side, long on this side. Just at the far end of the ward. They can't hear me out for help. I decided to flip the coin. Drop down and grab the cooker. Even if I break my arm, the splint's gotta come on my leg. That's part number one, two, and three. Throw myself off the edge of the bed, crash down in a heap, blankets, wires, cables, all go. The arm holds, and I hammer her, expecting the nurse to come bursting into the room like the bats have been thrown up. They kind of stroll in 5 minutes later. What you doing on the floor, love? First of all, I say, that's a fantastic British accent there. Where'd you say from again? David did not say that. It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to the matters, right? It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to the matters. The reason why I'm telling these stories, I learned 3 lessons from this experience. The first lesson being, let's not pass the clicker back and forth. That's a bad
Right.
idea.
So that's a lesson you learned.
Second lesson being, let's tie the splint up at the hip, not at the ankle. That way I can untie the shit that's happening going forwards.
Mm,
And the third lesson, and probably most profound, let's always be solutions oriented from this moment forwards. When things go sideways in life, which sure as you're born, they will. How do you resolve your issue? How do you fix your problem? Let's go with that. That lesson stayed with me going forwards. Then came time to walk in Tooting Broadway, just to kind of show the escalation of walking. Here's have you been to London, England, David?
I have, yeah.
Have you been to Tooting Broadway?
I don't recall. Where is that near? So, if there, is there? Because we had walked when I was in London. We did do a lot of walking. So we took a tour, but then we also did a lot of uh, involuntarily and voluntarily walking just to get to know the city, which was great. We went to a couple of pubs, of course, but we also went to some flea markets, some little markets, where people were selling goods and things like that. It was a wonderful trip.
Nice. I'm glad to hear that. Well, this is not on any many tourist maps. Let me set the scene for you here, David. Tooting Broadway is an area in South London, an area they call up and coming. Think loud
Okay.
sirens, drugs, gangs. It's dirty, it's hectic, and boy, is it busy. Walk with a cane and walk with an eye patch. After 4 months in a wheelchair, I'm literally Bambi on ice. I turn the corner to walk on the high street for the first time. Immediately get slammed into by someone. I
Mm.
stagger back a few feet. Someone else scurries past me on the right hand side. I thought I was done with the rats. Someone had been stabbed on the sidewalk over here. I'm thinking this is a pretty wild place to learn how to walk. After a few days of this, I was thinking this is the worst place to learn how to walk in the world. Can't they see I'm trying to walk here? Can't they see I'm trying here? And then one day my perspective shifted. Maybe this isn't the worst place to learn how to walk in the world. Maybe this is the best. If I can walk here, I can walk anywhere. The tune probably didn't change, right?
Hmm.
But it went from the worst to the best in my mind, and my mood reflected that. What are you looking at in your life you're convinced is the worst? Convinced is the absolute worst. Hey, maybe it is. Maybe you can find a way to turn down the suck a little bit, shift that perspective a little bit. Iron Mike Tyson famously said, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Yep,
Now,
exactly.
your punch may not be a brain hemorrhage, right? Facts, hard facts. But it will be a job loss, a breakup, a diagnosis for you or a loved one. You will take that punch in the mouth. How you respond? I'm offering a compass, not a map, but a compass. It always points towards true north. We look at things like mindsets, perspectives, and hacks. Hacks of logging your team to better than yesterday, tomorrow. My name's Dan MacQueen. And the reason why I told you that story about learning to walk in Tune Broadway is when you change the way you look at the world, the way you look at changes. And you don't need a brain hemorrhage to understand that.
Yeah, well, thank you. Really, you don't need the brain hemorrhage, and you don't need all the things. But generally, for most of us, I'd say the majority of our, majority of us really, we need maybe not a brain hemorrhage. Hopefully, nobody gets a brain hemorrhage, but that's inevitable in some cases. But you need those wake up calls. Just recently, I had a wake up call. I knew fast food and stuff like that wasn't good for me. I'm 57, and but guess what? I found out within the past month that two of my main arteries were blocked, 98% blocked. That automatically
Jeez.
gives you something different. I just was going through naively thinking that way. So, until you get those wake up calls, and I've had wake up calls before, not necessarily medically. You had mentioned about job losses and transitions, but the really tough part is that most times we need pain to refocus us into a way that gets us to do what we need to do. I mean, I would probably even call it, you know, something like constructive optimism. Is you need that in your life to deal with it because to know what you have to deal with. That's why when I was in the hospital, it sounds like you as well with all the stories you just shared, you were looking at it and going, okay, how do I solve it? I'm sure there was at some point, why is this happening to me? But you also then took the affirmative side by saying, what do I have to do to move forward?
Yeah, exactly. And it's about reframing stuff in a way that serves you. I'm a master of that now. I think like I've been hit by so many bloody punches at this stage in the game. I'm pretty good at reframing things and moving forwards. Uh, but the way you look at the world matters, right?
Hmm.
And when you realize the worst know the best, that made all the difference for me. I look forward to my walks. Bump into me, crash past me, good, bring it on. If I can walk here, I can walk anywhere.
Mm.
That made those walks enjoyable. You're making me better with this. Thank you for the opportunity to get better. Initially, those walks were horrible, man. I was getting bumped in. I'm like, can't they see I'm trying to walk here? Can't they see I'm trying? And then when that shifted, I looked forward to my walks. It opened up the world for me. When you change the way you look at things, the things that you look at change.
For sure, for sure. So, how did you embrace those walks? Because I think walking is one of the best ways to clear our mind and help us heal through the things that we think through.
Well, I embraced those walks so I knew that every time I was getting bumped into, it was making me better. I was training myself to get better. And better than yesterday is what I live by. That mantra is very simple. Just means I try to improve myself from how I behaved and conduct myself yesterday to today. Ratchet things up slowly, right? That aim small, miss small, and ratchet mentality is there.
Mm,
And just continuous improvement. Growth mindset, like being okay with failure. Failure is something we're so icky to talk about because I don't want to tell people that I failed. Like I fail all the time, man. My friend Riel calls this first attempt in learning.
mm.
It's a key mindset to take on board. Failure is okay with this. I'll share a couple examples with you about failure. So I used to have to shower with a bath mat out of the hospital, right? Because I was very unstable on my feet. Doctor's like, he needs the bath mat. He might fall, slip and fall. It's a safety thing. It was very expensive too. It was like a couple, I don't know, like 100 pounds, something like this. And one day, and I would hang up the bath mat to go to work in the day, and it would drain to the bathtub, and it would be a symbol of not getting to shower. It drove me nuts, man. Until one day I go, you know what? I don't need the bath mat anymore. My parents are like, oh no, Dan, you need the bath mat. You could slip and fall. It's for your safety. I'm like, you know what? I don't need the bath mat. Next day I didn't use the bath mat. And guess what? Just fine. So retired the bath mat. I used to walk with a cane in London. Helped me steady my feet because I was pretty unstable. Came back to Vancouver for Christmas one year. Forgot the cane in London. Guess what? I was just fine. So retired the cane. Each one of those instances, I risked failure to improve myself and set a new threshold of standard, right? Only by risking failure can you improve and take steps to grow. But don't go hurt yourself and blame me saying, oh, I took your advice, Dan, and I hurt myself. Like, that's not my deal. But within reason, push yourself because if you're not failing, what are we even doing here? What are we even trying to accomplish? You're not pushing yourself to where you can be. I'd rather you fail, scale it back, and then reach that goal than never reach your full potential. That's how you climb out of these holes, right? Is by pushing the envelope always. That's exhausting to think about because it's every day, always, forever. And believe me, it's not easy to do that, but it's simple to decide that. And I call that dad decision a day. You decide for that day, I'm fighting the battle for that day, and you do that. You do what you say you're gonna do.
Okay.
Alex Hormozy says you don't get confident by shouting affirmations in the mirror. You do so by repeatedly doing what you say you're gonna do, day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out. So I swim 3 times a week in the pool. In fact, I'm swimming tonight. Every time I get in the pool, I set intense for laps I owe. Could be 40 to 100 lengths. I owe those lengths no matter what. No matter what, David, no matter what. Save one exception. There's a backstroker in my lane. I can negate the lanes entirely and go directly in the sauna. I got a specialty with the backstrokers. Let's not go down that road right now. But I got this evidence stack that says I do what I say I'm going to do for days, weeks, months, and years. I got this note on my phone that says swims for the past, I don't know, 5 years, and it's lengths and time it took me. So 40 lengths in 35 minutes, something like this, and the date. And it goes back years. And it overlaps no matter what, save that one exception, right? But it's about building that stack of evidence that says you do what you say you're going to do. So you don't question if I can do this thing. I've done it for the past, I did it yesterday, I did it the week before, I did it last year. I don't question if I can do it. I foster that resilience muscle in my body that I know I can do this. And everyone's resilient.
Right. It's that muscle memory, and it doesn't always have to
Yeah.
be about muscles. It's the activities and the routines we build into it, both positive and negative. And
Yeah. It's
the
just about keeping
idea,
that promise.
yeah, and it's a promise to ourselves, which really becomes so important. So how do a lot of people, well, what you were faced with, you had to learn at the beginning. That's also part of that routine, is when you were just talking about failure, it was, at times it's trial and error. While we don't
Oh,
want anybody,
100%.
you know, and what you might not have been able to do one day, you could work yourself up to. That's where I use the word yet often. I haven't done that yet, and that means I have to learn it. And it's a promise that I keep to myself to do that.
Yeah, it's a really good way observation there, and it's like I fail all the time now. I'm not afraid of failure. I'm afraid of not trying.
Mm,
I used to pride myself so I never like showed that I tried hard, but I would secretly try hard under the surface to be like, naturally good at things, but never naturally good. I had to try hard, but secretly try hard.
sure.
Now it's like I don't care if you see me caning this down the hill, man. I am not sparing the horses here. I'm chasing this down full bore, tripping, falling, stumbling in front of you. Like I don't care if you see this because you do this too. You just better not show this side of you, right? Nothing comes easy to me now. It's like all rinse and repeat, fail, 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 and then finally I succeed. But I'm not afraid to fail now. I realize that that's how I improve. That's how I grow. That's how I reach my goals is through trial and error and failure and pivoting and adapting and growing.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I teach people, and you want to be good at something, you have to be prepared to be really bad at it at first.
Oh,
There's
for
no way,
sure.
yeah, there's no way you can do that. And you know, you have been, so what are some of the goals that you have right now? I mean, obviously you had different goals prior to all this experience, but what are some of your goals now?
Well, I want to share a goal that I accomplished um, 4 years ago now, skiing.
Mm,
So I was a big ski racer growing up. Ski raced for 4 years and used to be a ski instructor. I was working on the even bars with my team after the brain injury, early days in Charing Cross. Now, even bars are just what they sound like, even bars you hold when you're unstable on your feet. They asked me what I wanted to get back to doing. I thought about it for a second. It was a big question. I used to play a lot of sports. I was still in a wheelchair at the stage, right? So I'm thinking about all the sports I used to play. I'm like soccer, hockey, volleyball, softball, skiing. Skiing would be the most difficult I thought. Depth perception, balance, core strength.
hmm
If I get back to skiing, that'd be pretty cool. So I told them I want to ski again. And they go, sure. They nod in agreement. Their eyes betrayed them. And, I was asked when I want to make this happen. I said 10 years from the last ski trip, which was 2022, 2012. So it'll be 2022 when I skied. Late in the season into March, brought the skis in the shop. They get waxed, they get sharpened. Because the skis were so old, they couldn't adjust my bindings. Now, the bindings hold your feet to the skis and they either come off when they fall or they don't. Mine were ratcheted up to the gills because I used to ski a lot of steep bumps.
mm.
Nothing more frustrating when you ski when your skis couldn't even actually fall. So that's not a big deal. We can ski with that, it's fine. The base of the Grouse Mountains for sky ride. My friends Andrew and RJ. Everyone's old hack is a ski racing punk to be the last one on the gondola. That way you can rest your skis and poles and the doors are closed behind you, right up hands free, like the OGs on the hill. Tell the guys this, we got the spot, riding up hands free. On the gondola, getting our gear wear looking right. And over the first tower, big forwards, big back. If you all close your eyes, I'll take you to the last leg of the gondola. Feel the nip of cold in your cheeks. Not a lot, but enough to let you know at altitude. Dock of the station. We walk to the station with our gear. Clomp, 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 clomp. Open the doors, no wall of sunshine. Let it hit your face. Big inhale through your nose. Smell the cedars, the pines, the hemlocks, down the stairs. Clang, 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 onto the snow. Crunch, crunch, crunch. It's soft pack, don't you know?
Hmm.
Then I did something I didn't think would be possible. I skied. And I skied like I never missed a day. Three pumps of the poles into a left-hand turn again and again and again. To tell you that this is possibly a lie. This is through and through a moonshot goal, something bold to aspire to. Something if I could lean back doing this, wouldn't that be something? And then I am skiing. Now, you have goals you're aiming at. What's holding you back? You know, able to walk, talk, or smile? Remind me of this quote from Confucius. He said, "We love two lives. And the second begins when we realize that we only have one." I share that story to showcase how you can shoot big goals. I didn't get there by doing nothing for 10 years and just started to ski one day. I did that by ratcheting up day in, day out, week in, week out, balance, core strength, visualization, meditation, like feeling what it's like to ski again in my moan and my muscles. I ratcheted up so that last step to skiing was such a small chasm to jump, I knew I could hit it. But you get there by taking small, consistent action and ratcheting up that new baseline, right? Aim small, miss small, and ratchet. And that was a big goal that I accomplished. That was 4 years ago now. Haven't been up since, or 3 years ago now, sorry. But the game plan is to go back up when they get a nice good dump of snow next year, so hopefully that happens. But it was a symbol of like what's possible. That this was such an audacious goal to say out loud and to do and accomplish it. Like I did this. It's like now it's like I don't really fear death. I fear not living a life that I'm capable of. What was possible for me? What can I do and accomplish? And it's a mindset game of anything else, right? But that skiing day was pretty damn cool. That was a big goal I accomplished.
Yeah, I could imagine. I can't imagine because I haven't had that experience. I've skied, but not fighting myself back to do something that I love. And I do believe we should always, keep going for those big, uh, those goals. What are some of the goals that you're looking forward to completing right now?
Well, I'm a speaker now, and I want to make that more consistent, get some more consistent stage time and gigs. So that's the main goal now is to make that a viable full-time operation. It's getting there, but it's slower than I would like it to be. That's the biggest goal right now, but it's also, my goals week in, week out are like, swimming 3 times a week and meditation, eating clean, getting up early, building that stack of evidence. This is I do what I say I'm going to do, right?
Hmm.
Day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, year in, year out. It's a consistency. It's a schedule that I follow very religiously because when your world's spinning out of control, you want to find some controllable, right?
Hmm.
What can I control? So really write down what I can control, what I can't control, cross out what I can't control, and focus on what I can control. And I do that for my life, my exercise, my speaking, and just focus on what I can control. What's within my remit of influence and control? It's important to reframe that when you're shooting for big audacious goals.
Yeah, no. Well, it sounds like from your explanation, how you fought through adversity is actually sort of a game where you challenge yourself to get there. Is that right?
100%. Good observation. Alan Watts is a big philosopher who talks about gamification and play. When life's about play, it's a bit more fun, a bit more light, a bit more jovial, right? And you just start finding games and things. So on this podcast a couple years ago, a gaming podcast. I'm not a big gamer, but I used to play, 64 back in the day.
Mm.
GoldenEye and Mario Kart 64. So the guy goes, "What games did you play?" I'm like, "Well, Mario Kart 64, I was dialed to that game." We'll talk about that. Okay, so life's like Mario Kart 64. Going around the Mushroom Circuit River. There's an obstacle in the second left-hand turn on the left-hand side. Hit it the first time, hit it the second time, hit it the third time. Like, dude, you know the obstacle's there. Drive around it. Life's like this. There's patterns that show up year over year, month over month, day after
Mm.
day. Understand these patterns, you can start gamifying life. There's something coming up on the left-hand side, drive around this. But that's how you gamify life, is just making it more fun and enjoyable. I've actually got a podcast called Play Loose, Look Tight, documenting the process of life after. Bit of a wild name. Let me explain it for your group. It's a life mantra in 4 words. Play loose is the first 2 words. Joie de vivre, have fun. Play is the first word by intention. Second part of that is look tight. Be intentional with your dress and demeanor, on time with how you show up for others and yourself. Play loose, look tight is the words I live by. And it's a bit jovial, a bit lighthearted, but it's how I live my life, man. Play is the first word by intention.
I think everything that you're telling me about is intention. Is taking what we have, what happens to us, but the intention is to move through it, learn lessons. Again, you don't ever want to be put in any of those situations, and you've had other situations. So while that brain hemorrhage sets you back. But you've had other things you've had to grow through. Using my language, grow through because of the adversary that that had come that you had to face. It hasn't been as easy as you're saying. It wasn't just working out. It's that day in, day out type of you know, what do we do? And we get frustrated at times, but how do we do that and create those goals that you talk about? Everybody has goals, right? And I always say a dream, without without a itinerary, how to get there is just a dream, right? A goal without an itinerary is just a dream. And
Yeah.
how do you make the difference to make sure that your dreams become goals?
Intentional. Intentionally work towards those goals, backtrack from them, set the goal, and then take steps back until we get to a point where I can actually hit that goal, and then ratchet up and slowly take the staircase up to that goal. Like speaking for me, started out as a thing I used to do outpatients in my old rehab center in Wilson in London
Mm.
to talk about how to navigate the world outside of the nerfed up worlds of the hospital. Being in the hospital, everyone's catering towards you. You're in a brain injured ward, so they like give you space and help you with this, help you with that. When you're outside in Tooting Broadway, for instance, it's a dogfight, man. Like you're thrown to the wolves. It's like this is wild out here. How do you navigate that world? So you see this talk for them about, perspective, mind shift, value propositions, hacks. How do you navigate the world outside the hospital? Like, here's what I learned. Take this on board if it serves you. And they were so positive about that talk. I got some really profound feedback from that. One of the gentlemen said, I talk about swimming a lot in my talk because that's my primary form of exercise now because it's less impact on my joints and it's pretty easy to do. And he goes, Dan, before the injury, I used to swim a lot. Since the injury, I stopped because it took me so much time to swim. After hearing you talk, Dan, I'm going to try again.
Mm.
Now, that line, I'm going to try again, is everything, man. Because maybe he stopped it for the next time, but maybe he's still swimming now because of me. I'm just telling you to try. Try, that's the most important bit in everything. Just try, man. Try again. If you fail, then try again next month or next week, next year. But try. Risk that failure, risk that being embarrassed part, but try again. That's how you get out of these dark holes is by moving forwards in a progressive manner, by trying again.
Yep. Once you're not successful, you just have to find a different way. It's not any one way, and each one of us is so individualized that we just have to find the way that works for us.
That's right.
Now, one of the things I wanted to ask you, they one of the notes was, what is naked walks? It sounds
Yeah.
interesting. What is that all about?
So naked walks were in the hospital in Roehampton. I was walking without spotter aids. I was walking naked. But when I told people I went for a naked walk, they go, Dan, I don't think you're supposed to do that. I'm like, yeah, it's just walking naked walk is awesome. Nurses are all behind it, man. It's like, I don't think you're supposed to do that, man. The term kind of stuck. It was a long road down to get the naked walks with man. I was just having me moving. So like I kind of kept the term naked walks. It's funny when I speak on stage and I go, run the video now of the naked walks, and the organizer goes, thank you for clearing this beforehand. Let's run the video. Run the video. It's just me walking on the street, kind of jiving out. And they go, thank God.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but I guess that's also a great reference point. We obviously when you bring up something like that, we all have different thought patterns on that, but it really is what we do in life. We're all doing naked walks. Nobody's here to hold our hand at most times, as you've shared, and at the end of the day, close the door of your house, your apartment, whatever. It might just be you, and at the end of the day, it's really it is just you. Even if you have the right supports like you've had uh, working through your injuries.
It's about fun too. Like that naked walks is a fun term. It's like
Mhm.
life's not so serious, man. Like make it a bit fun, a little bit jovial. Like this is a shitty situation to be in. I'm gonna find joy where I can. So like when I saw the reactions, like I went for a naked walk today and they go, "Oh, Dan, you can't be doing that." It's like, nah, it's cool. Trust me. But like if you're not laughing at this, like I've got a very dark sense of humor, and that helped me through this a lot, I think. Because you don't laugh, you cry, man. Because it's so dark and bleak. You're just like, this is the worst. But you find some joy in it. And you make things lighter than they have to be. Like, just have some joy in this, right? It's about enjoying the time you spend. It's not about having more time, it's about enjoying the time you're spending, right?
Right. Well, yeah, we don't always want more. Everybody wants says they want more time. I don't. I want more time today and things like that. But it's one of those things where I want the right amount of time. I don't want more time if I'm not able to do anything or enjoy that. I want the quality time where I'm able to enjoy and things like that. So you've really built, your mental health. I mean, to a very strong, resilience mindset. And a lot of that was because you had to. You know,
Yeah.
they're really, you could have taken that victim mentality and be like, this is all me, but you don't. And from hearing you, you try to make light of some of these things, but that's a really strong mindset.
Well, mine says pretty bulletproof now. I've got this, I just got a new tattoo in London actually with a Grim Reaper on a holiday with a Hawaiian shirt and a bucket hat. Looks like a total douchebag. Underneath it says, not today.
Mm,
Just
nice.
because I'm moving it from why me to try me, right? It's my new marketing now, my new branding. And that's the mentality I've kind of taken on board with this. Is like, you think you got me down here, brother? Try me. Like, I laugh at this now because it's like you tried to take me twice, man. Well, three times really. But it's like my mindset's so bulletproof now. It's like, what are you gonna come at me with that I can't overcome? It's like this is a big issue. Like, man, maybe for you. Like, this is not controllable. What can I control with this? Do
Mm.
that. Shit's gonna happen in life, right? Like, it's gonna happen. How you respond to it's what makes the difference between who you are and who you want to be. So I decided to show up for that person every time. I've got this alter ego that I call my guy's called Danny Mac. My name's Dan MacQueen, so Danny Mac. I morph into this guy when I get on stage, when I tell my stories, when I'm overcoming the walking into and Broadway, when I'm going through my fourth eye surgery. I morph into this guy. And this guy is fearless, man. He's ballsy. Will try things out, not care about what people think, and like risk failure. Like he morphs into this superhero, right? And I've been able to morph into this guy more times than not because I know like what this guy takes to become, how to become this guy. And I've kind of embodied some of that Danny Mac in my vibe now. And it's not easy to do, but simple to decide, right? Not easy,
Yeah,
but simple.
yeah, for sure. I mean, that's being your most authentic self, right? It sounds like Danny Mac is that the guy who brings the bad here, in bringing the authentic you, these thoughts that you've been sharing with us for the past 40 minutes or so. So at this point of the episode, I usually bring people into my magic garden where you can give us one piece of advice that might either grow right away, the seed might grow right away, or it might need some more nurturing. Do you have that one piece of advice that you might want to share with the audience before we end the episode?
Yeah, thank you, David. So I would say for this, go back to Stoicism. It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters. It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters.
Hmm.
If you live your life by that mantra, you start becoming bulletproof. How are you going to respond to this, right? Fortify your mind first and foremost, then body, then soul.
All right. Well, that I think that's awesome. I think that's really what it is and when our body and mind and soul are all connected, we're our most authentic selves, and you are bulletproof. When you first mentioned bulletproof, because you said it a few times, I picture Superman, right? He just stands out there with his chest hanging out, knowing that nobody could knock him down.
Like it's like I don't want to sound arrogant or like tempt fate, but like what can you throw my way that I haven't been able to overcome? Like my mindset's so fortified now with stoicism and like my mindset and my hacks and my perspectives on things. It's like What do you do when you have a bad day? Well, what's a bad day? Well, someone cuts you off in traffic, you're late for work. It's like, is that a bad day? It's just a Tuesday, man. Like,
Right.
what do
It's
you
a
can
bad five
control? Like,
minutes.
yeah, like just take a breath and like, is it that big of a deal?
Yep.
Like, take some perspective on this, right? Like, I remember what it's like when I can't walk, talk, or smile.
Mhm.
Clean a life in the ICU and being told you're probably not gonna be able to talk, Dan. You can't walk. Certainly can't do these things. And like, I'm skiing, man. I skied. Show my doctor the picture of me or the video of me skiing. He goes, "That's incredible, man. Make sure to use my name in your podcasts." Consultants are
Yeah, they
very
like.
positive and competent people, but they're also very like egotistical as well. So it's pretty funny.
Yeah. And so how can everybody find you to if they want to talk to you or hear your stuff? I know your
Yeah, for
podcast
sure.
is on a hiatus right now, but I'd love to have people contact you and kind of look for motivation for you.
Sure. My website's McQueen Dan, MacQueen, MacQueen Dan.com. That'll be linked in the show notes. And I'm McQueen Dan across the various socials.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your time. I loved it. I was motivated by your story, and I'm sure that there's going to be people out there who need to hear your story and need to hear the resources that you provide. Thank you so much, Dan.
Cheers, brother.
All right, and everybody else, as always, I love to have peace and love in your life as your foundation. And then when you bring a bat, make sure you're bringing awesome thoughts like we heard from Dan today. Thanks so much, and God bless everybody.